We were told we were idiots for investing in Yieldmax. We were told so many things. I'm going to give my 1-year report right now on Yieldmax funds and some of the things I've learned and the key takeaways from being involved in Yieldmax for a year. This is Mike, the Tactical Stock Scalper. All right. There was a lot of passion for Yieldmax when I came onto the scene, but most of the passion was on the negative side, right? We were told that Yieldmax is trash. We were told that Yieldmax was going to zero. You're going to lose all your money. You're going to burn your capital. Yeah. None of that appears to be true. So let's kind of get into this. So I think the key metric, at least for me, and what I've learned is how important return on investment is. And we all knew this from the very beginning. There's other people that have no idea what return on investment is and how important of a metric that is. And just, I'd like you to leave in the comments, what happens after your return on investment is paid off? So for people that got in at inception with Coney and Nvidia, and guys, there was a lot of people that got involved with Coney and Nvidia when they first came online. What's going to happen on this dividend coming up the beginning of August? Does anyone know? Their return on investment is paid off. That is phenomenal, because what happens after that is, what happens after that. You can't take a loss. Your return on investment is paid off. All the dividends have replaced everything you've put into it, and now everything past that is just the printer, just free money. So I don't think people, when they were bashing these funds months and months ago, understood return on investment and the power of compounding. That mathematical equation was lost on them. All they saw was a chart. And so, yeah. Okay, now I want to talk about NAV erosion, okay? And I'm looking for it. Hold on. NAV erosion! I can't find it. Hold on. NAV erosion, where? Well, I don't know about you, but I can't appear to find this NAV erosion. I mean, in the funds I'm holding, in Nvidia, I don't see it. I don't know where it went. YMAG or YMAX, I hold both of those. Where's the NAV erosion? AMSI? Has anyone seen the NAV erosion with AMSI? I'm not seeing it. Or Phoebe? I mean, I do not know where this NAV erosion went. Maybe they went and sat in Starbucks and had a delicious caramel vanilla latte, and all the NAV erosion boys are all sitting in there. Now, if you want to see NAV erosion, look at a Starbucks chart. So that's where you can find it. Maybe that's where it went, because it's certainly not in the video. I don't know what to tell you. It's not there. So with all the talk about we're going to lose our capital, that NAV erosion is happening, it's not happening in these positions that I hold. And guys, I own 8 positions. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 8 I hold, I haven't been able to find any NAV erosion. Now, in IWMY, which I hold, now that looks like the Starbucks chart, right? It's just going down. The difference is the amount of dividends I received from IWMY has put me into the, in profits. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't find the NAV erosion. If you find it, tell it to stay away, because it's not here. Okay. These are not growth funds. And people that will constantly hammer, or used to, because you're not really seeing it anymore, because the proof is out there now that these funds are absolutely phenomenal, that they're not growth funds though, right? That's the big argument. People want to compare NVIDIA, for instance, to NVIDIA. And they're like, man, look at all the gains you missed out on. Okay, number one, you can't compare it to its underlying because it's a totally different product. It's not a growth fund. You're sacrificing growth for monthly dividends, right? That's how this works. However, even with the monthly dividends and the share price appreciation I've been enjoying in NVIDIA, it still doesn't match the level of NVIDIA as far as the growth percentage. But you can't fall for that, because when do you sell NVIDIA? Like, how do you know that's going to be your return unless you sell right now, right? Then you can say it. But what if you sell when it goes down? What if you sell, now and it goes higher and NVIDIA continues to go higher? So that has always been a skewed metric because it's all based upon when do you sell, right? We can compare it to the underlying and how it's doing, even though that doesn't make any sense because they're two totally different products. However, when do you sell the underlying to get the real rate of return? Okay, next, I've also learned that DCA, averaging down, buying lower, I don't care what you call it, absolutely works. And buying at levels on the chart of the underlying, using technical analysis of the underlying to work your Yieldmax funds has worked out fantastic. And that is one way I keep my average costs down. So when it goes back up, meaning the Yieldmax fund, when it goes back up past my price point, right, past my average cost, all those dividends are free money. It's profit because it's above my cost basis, right? So average price matters. Averaging down using technical analysis on the chart has been very beneficial to me. But you don't have to just use TA. You could use a percentage. You're down X percentage in a position, and that's when you go in. So yeah, I've learned that it is so important to average down, and for me anyway. All right, here's another, probably the main thing with all these funds, and we knew this from the very beginning, but it's been cemented. The underlying of your Yieldmax fund is king. It rules all, right? How the underlying performs is how your Yieldmax fund is going to perform. Case in point, compare NVIDIA to OARC, right? And compare ARKK to NVIDIA, right? And you'll see two contrasting looking charts, therefore two contrasting looking Yieldmax funds, right? Not all Yieldmax funds are created equal due to the underlying, right? And there are some hitch and a giddy ups here, things that are really volatile, for instance, like Tesla, right? Tesla calls get capped, something like Misty, something like Coney, something like NVIDIA, right? Some of the better performing ones, although Tesla has not been a better performing one, but she's getting there. It will get capped, obviously, with the covered calls, but that is the sacrifice we make for getting monthly revenue. Now, we've been in this a year, or at least I have anyway, and they have performed, just in my humble opinion, way better than I expected. Honestly, I expected to get the calls blown through almost every time. It happens from time to time because that's what happens when you trade options and you do cover calls. They do get blown through. They haven't been blown through as much as I expected them to, honestly. They performed for me extremely well. I couldn't be happier. Now, what is the long-term outlook on holding these things? Well, we don't know. We know as long as the market continues to go sideways or up, right, we're in really good shape. The funds are fine for that. Now, what will happen to these during a prolonged down period? We just don't know. And I mean, we do know this, that if the underlying drops, these are going to drop with the underlying. However, we will get dividends, right? So we will outperform the underlying at that point, but we don't care about outperforming the underlying. All we care about is the monthly revenue and getting our ROI paid off as soon as possible, right? That's the key metric I've learned. So for me, guys, have been freaking awesome. I haven't seen my capital erode. As a matter of fact, my account continues to climb because of these funds I hold. I'm not seeing any of this stuff I was told was going to happen. It just hasn't happened for me. Maybe if you only bought AYYY, that thing, right? Maybe you have a different tune. Maybe if you bought some like Misty at the very tip top, maybe you have a different tune. I don't know. But it depends where you buy it, and it depends how you DCA into the fund to get your average price lower. That way, when the underlying does eventually rebound, you'll be sitting pretty. I hope you enjoyed the content. This is Mike, the Tactical Stock Scalper.